Hey, it's John. Welcome back to the show, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Live Cut. Premise of this series is to talk about live albums that don't get enough love or recognition, or in this case, most people may not even know about this one. Before we discuss the album today, let me introduce you to my friend. You may know him from the Contrarians and Grant's Rock Warehouse, and you may also know him from his business called Squire's Moving Services, Nick Esquire.
Yeah, thanks,
Welcome
John.
back to the
Yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah. How about it? Yeah. Great to be with you, as usual.
Thank you. I said I was going to try to be loose.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine.
All right. So Nick suggested this album of this series. Nick has suggested the ones that I have no idea that these existed. This is Steve Marriott's Dingwalls 6.7.84. This is a compilation. What Nick is holding up right now is the original album. Steve Marriott pack
Packet
packet
of
of
three.
three, and packet of three was the band.
Correct.
And the musicians on this album are Steve Marriott on vocals, guitar, and harmonica, Jim Leverton on bass, and Fallon Williams on drums. This was released in 1991. I'm sorry. This is a compilation from two different shows, and one of those shows was on the packet of three vinyl that Nick was just holding up. This compilation is on Mama Records. This was recorded at Dingwalls in London, England on July 6, 1984. It says 6/7/84, but in Europe they reversed the month of the day. It was recorded on Manor Mobile by Andy Turner, and it was produced by Steve Marriott. So, Nick, what was your first experience with Steve Marriott's music, whether it was Small Faces, Humble Pie, etc.?
In the mid '80s, I became a Humble Pie fan. As you know, we grew up in a great part of Pennsylvania where radio was very rich and exciting and
Yes.
educational, and Rock 107 that you mentioned every single
WZSFM,
episode.
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that you should be on retainer for.
I should be.
They used to play Humble Pie, so you'd hear 30 Days in the Hole. You'd hear, I think, Shine On. Maybe it was Frampton's version, but and they would talk about Humble Pie once in a while. So I got into Humble Pie, and it was at a weird time, like um, being a metalhead. Wasp did a cover of "I Don't Need No Doctor," and you would listen to the syndicated show Metal Shop, and some artist would talk about Humble Pie. And then Kiss was always the guys in Kiss, especially Paul Stanley, was always very generous in talking about his influences. And he
Yes.
often talked about Steve Marriott and Humble Pie. And then in later years, I came to realize that Simmons was a huge fan, and Ace Frehley was a huge fan, and Peter Criss was a huge fan. So I naturally gravitated towards that band and picked up. I should have grabbed it here. Where is it? The well on cassette, the greatest hits with the lady with pie all over her face, and from there I was hooked. It also helped that I had a there was a used record store in Scranton, a famous place called the Electric Mind Shaft.
I've been there.
I bet you have. And the owner of that place was a big pie fan. And so you'd go in and ask him, "Hey, tell me about humble pie," and then he's off to the races. So he was a very good salesman. So to reward myself throughout high school and in college, I would buy a humble pie album when I did well and or something. So it became almost like a religious experience. So I was off to the races. I became a big Marriott fan. I had an opportunity to go to London in college. I think it was like the over Christmas '88. I knew he was in a band or in bands. I knew he was playing. It was before the internet, before any of that stuff. But when I was in England, I was just grabbing magazines and newspapers, hoping I would find that he was playing some little club somewhere. So I knew he was out there. I knew he was playing. I didn't know the name of the band. I didn't find him. I wish, but from then on, I was a big fan. And then throughout the years, from Dingwalls, here's another one in that time period, Rotterdam, and Live in '85, and all sorts of stuff. And Marriott's output is very, very, very sketchy, dicey, but this is the kind of stuff that,
Okay.
there's still quite a bit of stuff for him, just him. It's sort of humble pie related, but he's been sort of I find him very interesting. He's quite a character, and probably pound for pound, he's a little guy, but probably pound for pound, my favorite vocalist of all times, amongst many that I really love, but he's probably like the guy and still the guy. So,
Excellent. Well, for me, it was also Rock 107. And just a little bit that I heard on Rock 107. After a while, you didn't really hear any Humble Pie on there. And I will say the first time I heard I Don't Need No Doctor was the Wasp version. And
mhm.
that came out in '86 on Inside Electric Circus. But then I heard tracks from Spoken, and many years later, I'd hear Rocket a Fillmore, and then I would pick that up. And DC and I talked about this on the live cut. So I don't have quite the experience, but our beginnings were similar. So we're going to talk about this album, Dingwalls 6.7.84. And we're going to talk about what we really like about this album, what we may not be so crazy about. What's the first thing that really jumps out at you about this album, Nick?
Oh, all right. And I have a couple things I want to mention, but what jumps out at me is this. It's very raw. You feel like you're in the crowd. You
Yes.
feel like you're on the stage. This is how I love raw, live music. There are no overdubs on this. There,
No.
there is nothing added later on sweetened. This was a radio broadcast on Capital Radio, Radio Capital, as he called it. And so went out there live, and they did the recordings. And a guy had this little label, Aura Records. I try to do some research on some of my books that I have, and he was this guy named Aaron Six was sort of on the periphery of rock. He was involved with putting out some of the stuff from one of the Hollies members. I think it was the guy Sylvester. But so this is how this thing got out there. But it's because it was really raw and really, top to bottom. He does the Small Faces, he does Humble Pie, and he does a bunch of covers that takes you on a journey of what his influences are, somewhat self-indulgent, but it's sort of like a master class in rock and roll and R&B and soul and how to be a front man. I also like it. What also jumps out at me is that, Marriott by 84, voice was starting to get a little ragged, but he used it to his benefit. He had a three-piece band, which I love. I've played in three-piece bands. I love three-piece bands. Three-piece bands, some of my favorite. Cream, Mountain, Rory Gallagher at times, King's X, on and on and on. So I love a three-piece band. So it's a three-piece band. His guitar playing is exceptional.
Yes.
I've heard people talk about his guitar playing in the 80s. Um, Say what you will about his politics, and that's fine. But Ted Nugent's a pretty good guitar player. He loves Steve Marriott's guitar playing in the 80s. I've heard him talk about him. So his guitar playing on this is fantastic. So if you're looking for a good primer that would sort of introduce you to throwback stuff, to the blues and to R&B, and great rhythm playing, and then some great lead playing, you can do a lot worse. One little thing I want to take a sidetrack. You mentioned this is like a compilation. This is from this one show, Dingwalls. What you're looking at on the back are the extra tracks that were added. So
Yes.
this is just one show. It's not from two shows or anything. I mean, there was a lot of live recording of Marriott and bootlegs that are out there this time. One of the reasons I picked this is his output in the 80s is during his lifetime almost non-existent. Just a few things. This was the first thing on his own in the 80s, on his own solo wise. And I think it's one of the strongest. And there's a lot of boots, a lot of things that come out after his death. And I still think that this is at the top of the heap. You may want to quibble that, oh, there's a better recording or better this, better that. I think the band and the set list and pound for pound, it's a great, for me, it's a great experience if you want to hear Marriott, warts and all. So that's why I thought of this one because, most of the things that have come out live by Marriott has been since his death in 81, which, by the way, April 20th, 1991. So as we're recording this, we're almost there on the anniversary of his passing, 35th.
Exactly. That's true. Yes, I agree with everything. It's very raw. You got a trio. They're very good musicians. You can hear all the instruments clearly.
Yep.
Steve has charisma for days.
Yeah.
They called Paul Stanley the rock and roll preacher. Well, they probably still call him the rock and roll preacher. Well, Steve Marriott was the original.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ad-libbing.
Yeah.
Trying to get the audience into it all. Steve did it first.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we got such a great mix on here because we got
Yeah.
stuff from the Small Faces, he does covers on here, but he makes the covers his own.
Always, always.
He
Yep.
definitely makes the covers his own. You got some humble pie. You would think maybe if you're a casual fan, you would think there'd be a lot more humble pie on here, but no, that's not the case. You got a good amount of humble pie, but
Right.
you you got a nice selection of, like you said, that he was a huge rock and roll fan, and he really paid homage to his influences. And you get from the very beginning to up until this point. I love the energy on here. Like a track like Fool for a Pretty Face, I think the
Oh,
live version smokes the original out of the
oh,
water.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's incredible. Yeah. And remember, one guitar, just one
One
guitar.
guitar,
And
exactly.
it's a little bit of a funkier version. It's a little faster, but it works so well. I really like this version. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Bad Moon Rising, at first, you're like, well, these lyrics sound familiar, but this is done at like, what's this, like a third speed, maybe? Is it
Oh,
six?
if that.
You know what I mean? Yes, I mean, then you, when you pay attention, you're like, okay, this isn't a 2 minute good time rave up. This is
No.
6 minutes slow emotional blues version with traces of gospel in the harmonies.
Yeah, you like a laser mentioned that. That is the other reason why I suggest this album. That song, for whatever reason, fell off of his set soon after this recording.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why, because I think it is just sublime. It is fantastic. His vocal delivery is great. You mentioned the gospel. There's this gospel thing to it. And it's so from left field. Bad Moon Rising, CCR, it's nothing like you would expect.
Mm-mm.
Matter of fact, I did read in one of the books, I forgot he has the beginning notes. He plays the beginning guitar licks for Love in Vain by the Stones. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That is
Oh,
that
yeah, that's
lick.
true.
But then he goes into this. And you know what's funny? It's a three piece. And I swear, when you list those three guys, I keep thinking there's another voice or two in there. It's just the three of them. They all could sing very well. So it's a great, great, great performance. For me, it's my favorite song on the album.
Now,
That is the song.
let me ask you this. I'm going to go a little bit off track here. What do you know about Dingwalls as far as like the size of that venue? It sounds like it's maybe like 1,000 seat club at most.
No, I don't think it was that big. It was funny because if you look at the liner notes from 91, they said that the club was closed. However, I know in the last couple of years, when I've done just a little bit of reading, snooping, I could have sworn that Dingwalls is open again. It's in the Camden section of the UK, of London. I wanted when I was there last in '09, and I wanted to go there. I want to go to Camden because you know what? I think Dingwalls must have been open. I must have researched it or something because I want to go up there. And Camden, I believe, maybe some of the UK will correct me. It's that part of the UK, London, where there's a lot of the inner locks. So there's a lot of boats in around that area,
Mhm.
and it's kind of I guess, an artsy fartsy area too. But Dingwalls, I think, is a club that I think I can't imagine it's more than 500. But this is and as you can tell in the recording, it's a receptive crowd.
Yes.
They're hot for Marriott, and of course he delivers. But it's a small place.
Okay. Very good. Shame on you. I read into this. This was originally a country song, originally recorded by Spade Cooley, and there's a video out there on YouTube.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Shame should be considered a Jimmy Reed song. I know Shame. Oh, there it is. There was Spade as Cooley. How about that?
Yeah, and there's a picture of her. There's a picture of her. Or I'm sorry, there's a YouTube video of her recording it, singing it on YouTube on some country show.
I'm having a moment right now because I could swear I heard Jimmy Reed, the famous blues guy, play this song. And there it is. There's the credits. But okay, fair enough. Jimmy Leverton sings it. He sang it in
Yes.
years after this. He does a great job. By the way, I don't know if you know much about Jimmy Leverton. He actually had some time spent as a bass player in Savoy Brown.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Since Merritt's death, and it's killing me because I have their music here. I'm gonna have to look it up. He played in a band. They're from the Cambridge area of the UK, and they're a little more mellow. But he played with them for quite a bit, and I can't think of their name. It's killing me. Um, it's bugging. It'll come to me. I don't know if I'm gonna look it up now, but I keep thinking of Cochise, and it's not Cochise because that was Ricky Will's band. But Matter of fact, I'll tell you this weird story. My independent record store guy, who is in Lancaster, PA, he said once that Chris Robinson was in his store from the Black Crowes, and he
Nice.
was looking for albums from that band. He was like, oh, so he had to direct them like, we don't have that much, but now it's killing me. I can't think of that name. Someone's screaming at their computer right now watching this, but
We
yeah,
had
but
this conversation before, and now I forget who the band is. We talked about this before.
and I have their stuff. I want to say I don't want to. We'll come back to it. Anyway, Fallon Williams is an American out of Chicago, and he is a good drummer. My understanding he ended up relocating to Australia, and I hope he's still with us, but he's Australia. But here's a picture I want to show you from a book.
Okay.
One of the first books I got about humble pie in the face is called Happy Boys Happy.
Nice.
Oddly enough, it was renamed to something else years later, and I bought that too. And
Okay.
it didn't come with the photos and everything. But in this book, there's a photo of what became Humble Pie after Humble Pie imploded in '82. They were touring around as Steve Marriott and the Pie, or just the Pie. And this picture, I'll see if you can see it. Hopefully, not too much glare. Right here. There's
Yes.
Marriott,
Yes.
there's Fallon, there's Leverton. Do you know who that is?
It looks like Carmine Appice, but I think he's still too tall.
That's an excellent guess, but no. I'll give you another one.
Okay. Oh gosh. Is this somebody we've talked about?
Well, he has a very interesting name, and we've talked about the band. I think you and I, at least off the record, but I don't think we've ever talked. We definitely haven't talked. And he's left us now. He passed.
Okay, well, I was next I thought you're trying to I thought I thought you're showing me Kenny Gradney from Little Feat, but Kenny Gradney's still with us because Kenny
No.
Gradney used to have a big ass fro
Oh,
like
okay. Okay. No, no, no.
that.
This guy used to have a big afro. All right. I'll tell you who it is. It's a Goldie McJohn from Steppenwolf,
Oh, okay, all right. Oh
keyboard
yeah.
player. So that was a pretty cool band. Matter of fact, there's a couple cool live videos of them out there playing in like '82. But it was Marriott, Leverton, Fallon, and Goldie McJohn. Like, holy shit. They may have had another guitar player, but yeah, how about it? By the way, you'll love this. Now we're going off on a tangent. Um, Marriott is playing in New York, blah, blah, blah. He goes down to Atlanta with the Pie, and it's that lineup of the band. I think Leverton goes back to the UK, whatever. McJohn's gone. And the band had a series of guitar players, but one of the guitar players, and they said it was a phenomenal stretch that Marriott had. It was Rick Richards from Georgia Satellites.
Satellites, okay,
And they
nice.
said he was the perfect foil for Marriott. And they were getting ready to go into the studio with Eddie Offord, who was the guy who's recording with the Allman Brothers.
Yes.
And apparently, Rick and the other guitar player in the band went out on a bender and got really hungover and effed up. And Marriott fired them like
Mm.
that day because they couldn't pull it off in the studio or whatever. And then weirdly enough, later, a couple of years later, the Georgia Satellites are spending a lot of time in the UK, and Marriott linked up with them and they did some recording. A song called the Pull Tax Blues, which is very good. So it's out there. You can see it, I think, on Spotify. But yeah, so Rick Richards is in that band. I know you're a fan of the Satellites. So
Oh, I love the Satellites, absolutely. And Dan Baird. I was listening to the Bluefields today. That was a group that Dan Baird had with Warner Hodges from Jason the Scorchers, and then later on the two of them together formed Dan Baird's Homemade Sin.
oh, okay, cool.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
were already on my brain today.
And Dan Baird's got Marriott's guitar. So
Oh yeah?
yeah, that Telly. Although here's what it is. I forget it's the neck or the body. That Telly has a neck or body from Marriott and a neck or body from Ian McLagan. And then McLagan and Marriott switched. So McLagan ended up with whatever from Marriott, and Marriott ended up with whatever from McLagan, and then Dan Baird ended up with that guitar.
Hmm.
It's a special, it's a really sweet telly.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
That's awesome. We got All or Nothing on here, which was
Yep.
originally a number one hit in the UK for the Small Faces. That was the thing with the Small Faces. They had a lot of success in the UK, but here most people only know them for Itchy Coo Park.
That's right. Right.
And this is this one they slow it down just a little bit. It's a more reflective version. The original version had Steve Marriott doing the lead vocal and he was playing it on piano in there.
Mhm.
Here it still has that same feeling to it, but it is slowed down just a little bit. A lot of the
Mhm.
songs I think on here, I think they'd slow it down. They focus more on Steve's emotional voice
Yeah.
and his guitar playing.
Oh, yeah, and I think that makes sense. There's sort of a groove to this, and it makes sense. And not, at the time, let's think about it, in '84, a lot of hair metal bands playing fast. This is
Right?
like not that at all. It's
No,
like not that at all. So yeah, yeah, it's slow down a bit. So yeah. And then there's a couple songs in here that, he stretches it out besides 30 days. In 30 days, though, he does some really good harmonica work. If
absolutely.
you like a harmonica, this is the place to go. He was really above average. He was very good. He's a very good harmonica player. So, and Don't Need No Doctor, 12 and a half minutes. Of all the songs in here, that's probably the one that, it's so hard to compete with Rock and the Fillmore. It's just tough. And you're talking about a three piece. That's probably the one song as I'm listening to it now, years and years later. It's probably a little lesser in my eyes and it's towards the end of the show. There might be a little lull in the energy before they kind of bring it back up again. But it's still, I mean, it's still a fine track. And of course, I'm not a big fan of 12-minute sojourns, but you can't go wrong with any of the versions on there. All Shook Up is a really good version.
Yes,
That
it
was on
is.
their '82 album. It's great. The Cockney Rhyme was good. I was gonna say I was gonna do it for you. I mean, I don't know how much time we have, but I used to have that thing memorized. No, I can't do it now. My aunt's name is Eloise Waterbucket. She lives down on Burton on Trent. When she goes out shopping on her bicycle, she always gets her handlebars bent. There you go. I can go on and
Excellent.
on.
Awesome. The versatile Nick S. Squire.
Yeah, yeah. How about it? My skill set.
Exactly. 30 Days in a Hole, and I don't need no doctor. From seeing so many blues bands down in Sellersville, I got that vibe. This
Yeah,
sounds like something they play in Sellersville before the end of the set
yeah,
because
yeah.
they always stretch out, and you got a bass solo in here that
Hmm.
it's decent. The rhythm section's doing a great job throughout.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they take you to a couple different places, which I like, so that's kind of cool. There's a song towards the end called Big Train Stop at Memphis. That's one of the few that were like he wrote, and it hadn't been another album. And it's almost on every recording that you'll find with Marriott from here on in, on all of his
Okay.
all these bootlegs or posthumous releases. The thing about that song, and I forget the notes, I should have figured it out before I got here, but it's based on literally two chords. So it's kind of like all these changes, and it's a great sing along, great melody, but it's literally two chords, which is kind of cool. So
And
that's old school.
no doubt about it. And when I listen to that song, to me, that sounds so R&B, 60s R&B. It
Yes.
sounds like it should have a horn section on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We got a cover that closes the album, off done cover,
Hmm.
probably even more than I don't need no doctor of Rufus Thomas is walking the dog.
Yeah,
Wicked nasty version on here. What trying to think when did I first hear that? It might have been on the Rat self-titled EP.
me too. Yeah, I
Yep.
was even before Aerosmith. I had heard the Rat version first. Matter of fact, truth be told, around 85-ish, I played that as an instrumental in a band.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, yeah. How about that? Yeah, exactly. But his version is a little more faithful to the Rufus Thomas version, which is kind of cool. So yeah, but yeah, it's a great one.
No doubt about it. We got the Fixer originally on Humble Pie Smoking. This one, I think they play it pretty straight, but they do
Mhm.
stretch it out.
Yeah, it's one of those grinding guitar tracks, which I like. It's good. I mean, I'm not ranking it, but it's a good song. You know what song I really like though? That is 5 Long Years.
Oh
His
yes,
his version of that is really good. And there's been other versions, Clapton, I think, and
yes.
who else? Buddy Guy, but this is
Buddy Guy, BB
really,
King each recorded it twice.
yeah, but this is a really good version of it. I mean, you get the impression that Steve may have lived those lyrics, so
Oh my
it's a, it,
gosh, yeah.
it's a good one. So,
I think as far as guitar playing, I think it's his most impressive track.
oh, cool. Oh, excellent. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
because he is a very distinctive guitar player, but his blues chops on here I think are very impressive.
Yeah, he was working on those after Humble Pie, and I think he still felt insecure maybe about his blues playing, but I think he's good. I mean, the proof is right here if you want to judge for yourself. It's good.
Exactly. So this is quite a recording here if you want to hear something that's really raw and you get a great sample of Steve Marriott's career. This is definitely worth checking out. You could check this out. I believe this is out there on Spotify. I didn't check it. I've only been listening to CD.
Yeah, it's out there. It has a new cover on it, but it just say Dingwall, so it's out there still. And that's the problem with Marriott's. Marriott's discography is a mess. I don't know. There's stuff on there now, like let's say on Spotify. I think I have 90% of it. It seems like it keeps getting recycled,
Okay.
regurgitated, nothing new. The covers look like shit. They pull albums, re-release them. I don't know if it's like officially through his estate or whatever. I don't know if it's nefarious characters of dubious intent, but I think I've got like 98% of what's out there. If you're also ever interested, my advertisement, if you use Spotify, I've got a playlist called Marriott, Nick Esquire, Marriott, and it's Small Faces, Humble Pie, and the Rarities. And I've got 6 hours of stuff, and I've got all really rare stuff. I've got a lot of stuff. I got a couple things off this one, especially Bad Moon Rising. And I try to pick songs based on what I felt was his distinctive vocal performances. And we're up to over 1,000 followers on that one, so it's kind
Oh,
of cool.
nice.
Yeah, matter of fact, not bragging. I think that is the most subscribed to Marriott playlist on Spotify. So,
Oh,
and
sweet.
I keep updating it. I'm limited by what's available, and things get pulled. Things are coming out. Like for years, the Humble Pie albums of On to Victory and Go for the Throat were not available on Spotify for whatever reason. So Atco didn't have them out there, which was stupid. So now they're out there, and as things come out, I try to add them. And I even have things where he's doing background vocals for like Mott the Hoople and other things. And guest vocals on other albums. So I try to even include that too. Anything that's like a curio. Him doing he redid um black coffee for a coffee ad in Britain in the late 80s. So I put that
Oh,
on there as well. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Hey, here's some trivia. Do you know what packet of three means?
no.
Oh, well, I'm about to tell you. It's a UK term. You'd go as a male, you go into the machine, put your money in, turn the thing, and out would come three condoms. And they call that the packet of three.
I had no idea. Oh my God.
Hence the joke. He says at the beginning of the show, he goes, "I'd like to thank me father for not noticing the hole in his packet of three,"
I know I didn't get it.
which is like total Marriott humor, man. It's fucking yeah. That's the pack. Which the names of his bands were like insane, but packet of three, and then he had one called the official receivers, and then that's a term in the UK for bankruptcy. So you go into receivership. Then he played in the band, the Steve Marriott and the DTs, or the DTs, the Shakes, you know. But I read online recently. I don't know if it came to pass, but he was going to reform, yet have another three piece. Kofi Baker used to play with him a bit.
Oh,
That's
really?
Ginger Baker's son.
Yes.
Yeah, and rumor has it that they were going to reform yet another band with Kofi on drums, and the name of the band is is called. I had to read this a couple times before I understood it. I should Coco. Now, say that fast.
Ashikoko.
I should Coco. Say it again. It'll hit you. It hit me like 10 minutes later. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. So, Packet of Three, which is a cheeky band name. Humor lost on Yanks. So, there you go. But yeah, good for him. So,
Very good. So, Nick,
yeah.
how would you rank this album on a scale of 1 to 10?
Um, Given the Marriott discography, especially things that were released during his lifetime, I'm going to rate this a nine. A
Okay.
nine. If I'm going to compare this with the entirety of Marriott's discography, including Small Faces, Humble Pie, it might be like a 7.5. But if you want to get Marriott, get into him and where he was at, and still what he was capable of vocally in a small freaking club,
Mhm.
it's a nine for me.
Very good. I'm 8.5. I love your summary here. You get a great example, a portrait of his career here, with Small Faces, and with Humble Pie. The covers that he does, he makes them their own. He's got charisma. like no other, really.
Hmm.
Strong guitar player, excellent rhythm section, great recording, raw, but raw in a good way. It doesn't
Right.
offend you at all.
Right.
And again, you can hear all the instruments very, very clearly. Very, very tight. 8.5. So
Good.
we have discussed Steve Marriott, Dingwalls 6.7.84. Do you know this album? And if you do, what do you think of it? Have you heard Steve Marriott's work with the Small Faces or Humble Pie? Have you ever seen Steve Marriott live in those bands or on his own? Please let us know in the comments what you think of Steve Marriott's music and his career and this album, Dingwall 6.7.84. Nick, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you so much for recommending this.
Thank you, John. As usual, I always have a good time, and I appreciate it. Yeah, this was fun.
Excellent. All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Do what you love. We'll talk to you soon.